Let's start off with basic information. The dominant seventh chord is obviously the most important seventh chord in music. It is usually written as a snowman chord. The first dominant seventh chord most of us learn is the G7 chord, and that's because it's all white. There is absolutely no other dominant seventh chord that is all white, and that is why I refer to this as the Captain Obvious dominant seventh chord. Let's also call this the first cousin. Let's talk about how we can morph from this G7 chord to the G major 7 chord. We want to examine the dominant interval. This is exactly what gives this chord its name. If we enlarge this interval to our one short interval, we have our G major 7 chord. It is also a snowman chord, and we can call this the second cousin. To get to the G minor 7 chord, just look at the third of the chord. It's called the third because it's the third letter in our G major scale. So we lower the third from B to B flat. Voila! We have our G minor 7 chord. It's a snowman chord, and it's our third cousin. Finally, we go back to our G7 chord one more time. This time we lower the third and the fifth. B lowers to B flat and D lowers to D flat. Again, B is the third because it is the third letter in the G major scale. D is the fifth because it is the fifth letter in the G major scale. We don't change the bottom note, we don't change the top note. We just lower the two notes in the middle. Now we have G7 flat 5. It is also known as the G half diminished chord. This chord is usually a snowman chord, but it is written in different ways also. We can call it the fourth cousin. Now we have the G7 chord, the G major 7 chord, the G minor 7 chord, and the G half diminished chord, also known as the G7 flat 5 chord. And that's really all you need to know about these chords in the beginning. Now it's time for the rabbit hole. It turns out that in every key there are 3 different minor 7 chords. For instance, in the key of C we have E minor 7, A minor 7, and D minor 7. Notice that these snowman chords are totally white. In the key of C there are 2 major 7 chords. We have F major 7 and C major 7. These snowman chords are also totally white. There is only one dominant 7 chord in the key of C. In fact, there is only one dominant 7 chord in every key. Now we are back to the G7 chord. Obviously this Captain Obvious snowman chord is, you guessed it, all white. And that's why it's so important to learn it first. This leaves only the half diminished chord. There is only one in each key. In the key of C, it is B7 flat 5, or B half diminished. And of course, once again, it is all white. Both these names are popular, so use either one, whatever floats your boat. There is really only a bit more to this story. One by one, you want to go to each of the 12 keys, find the dominant 7th chord in each key, then find the 3 other cousins. Simply morph these 7 chords. When you can do that, you want to do one other thing. Play all the diatonic 7 chords in each key. Diatonic simply means that we are only using the notes in a major scale. Obviously, start off with the key of C because it is all white. Next, do the same thing in the key of G. And also the key of F. Then move from key to key. Your goal is to be able to do this in any of the 12 keys. When you can do this, you will have an incredibly valuable skill on the piano. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, Leave comments about anything you like, comments about anything you'd like to see in the future, and remember that I consider all suggestions.